Well, here we are, 5 freaking months from our last videos. I guess I failed my mission, because Night Owl brought me on board to fill in for her when she is gone. She told me the only thing that she is consistent at, is consistently having huge time gaps between her videos. I was brought on to help with that, and to try and fill in for her when she's gone. I have apparently failed that mission, but it was not intentional. I have been severely sick, off and on for the last few months, and was hospitalized on 2 separate occasions. As I said in my first video, or my introduction video, that I have struggled with health problems all my life, so this is nothing new for me. Also due to my old landlord apparently losing his mind and succumbing to the power of greed, and doubling my rent, I had to move to a different location. I simply refused to pay double for what I had already had for 3 years before that, at a stable price. Rents seem to be increasing all over the country, so my story of being forced to move is not uncommon. Now that I am in my new place, I can start to make videos again, or at least put more effort into it. I told Night Owl my reasons for not posting, and she told me not to worry about it, and to post only when I feel like it, because health always comes first. Unfortunately, Night Owl is also facing housing insecurity, and increasing rent prices. The last time I talked to her on the phone, she said that she may have to move to a different location herself, but she currently wasn't sure yet. I hate how much money absolutely rules everything that we do, whether we like it or not. We are all forced to worship money like a god, and money is a very cruel god. It is a shame to see people denied the healthcare they need, or children denied the food that they need, all because they don't have imaginary numbers in their bank account. There's actually plenty of food to go around. Americans waste about 40% of all of the food we have annually. Most of it is simply just thrown away, because it doesn't look appealing enough to sell, and the food that is past its expiration date is thrown away even though most of it could still be used. Did you know that most major fast food restaurants like McDonald's and Burger King will often lock their dumpsters or pour bleach and other chemicals in their trash cans to prevent the homeless people from finding a meal? They do not see the food as food, they see the food as a product, and as a product, they would rather have the product be destroyed than to give it away freely. Even if the food is not being used, and is badly needed, they still would rather see it thrown away, than give it to a hungry person. That is the country that we live in, that is the kind of world that we live in. It's apparent that the people that say we should have more children, or telling you that having children in this world is okay, obviously don't know that much about how this world really functions, because if they did, no one in their right mind would want to bring an innocent child here. I honestly don't know what the future will be like for America, and the next generation of young people having to grow up in this type of environment. Night Owl told me that she thinks America will become more and more fascist, and that most young people won't have much of a future to look forward to. A young person simply can't just follow in their parents' footsteps and do the same things that they did, in order to reach some sort of stability or success in their lives. Things have changed so dramatically, and so fast, that even younger kids are struggling to keep up. From the incredible stress that they have to face in schools, to the incredible burden that is put on their backs, and all the pressure that pushes them to succeed at all costs, young people have a lot to deal with. Life has just become so unnecessarily complicated, that you can't help but wonder if things aren't just going to reach a point where everything comes apart at the seams. I know for many people it already feels like that. Skyrocketing inflation, and rising rent prices in the US and the UK, have made day-by-day life for millions of people miserable. They have to live in constant fear of not knowing what is going to happen, or how they are going to take care of their families, or even pay for the basic necessities of life. Even for young people, every day has become a struggle to just get by and try to live, let alone trying to build a future for themselves. A future, where they can be as secure and as stable as their grandparents were, becomes more and more like a distant dream, that can never be achieved. Most people living now, have just been robbed of their future, their happiness, and their lives. If you live in a system where you work a full-time job, and yet somehow you still can't keep a roof over your head, then something is terribly wrong with that system. Average working people in America and in the UK have been sold a lie. They have been told that if they just get a college degree, and work really hard, and pull themselves up by their bootstraps, that they will be able to secure happy futures for themselves and their families. That may have been true 40 years ago, but now more and more young people are waking up to the realization that the old world is long gone. What lies before them now is an uncertain future, with a very real possibility of things becoming much, much worse. Poor people have always struggled in one way or another, just to get their basic needs met. Although now, due to inflation and the ever-growing rent crisis, even middle-class people are starting to feel the pain and uncertainty that was once only felt by the poor. It is possible that one day, we will see a world where there is no such thing as a middle class, and people will only be either rich or poor, with nothing in between. We haven't even taken into account yet the impact that climate change will have on people's lives in the future. Food crops that were once grown in certain areas of the world for generations will suddenly no longer be possible. The entire livelihoods of millions of people will be changed and shifted. There will be mass migrations, much larger than anything we've seen before. Migrations of tens of thousands of people just trying to find somewhere they can live in peace, without starving or suffering the many hardships that they have already had to endure. If you add all that to the ever-growing political instability and governments that obviously don't care about the well-being of their own citizens, then you have a recipe for chaos and disaster. If being real, and looking at the world for the way it truly is, makes me a pessimist, then so be it. It is quite possible that the good old days of modern civilization are behind us. And all we have to look forward to now is a dark dystopian future. A future that may have been inevitable due to the ego-driven, self-centered way our so-called leaders tend to run things. So by not having children, you are in fact protecting them from having to live in that dark future world that our civilization seems to be headed towards at full speed. Night Owl and I are not just a couple of mean-spirited, pessimistic people that are full of doom and gloom. All you have to do is take a good look at the world around you to easily come to the same conclusions that we have. The truth is painted all over the walls of our everyday lives, it's just that it makes the average person very uncomfortable to have to look at it. So they choose to simply turn away, and keep hoping that everything will be okay somehow. Unfortunately, it will not be okay. The massive changes in our cultures and societies that are desperately needed will not happen in time to prevent what is coming. So all that is left to do is to prepare ourselves for the worst, and to make the best of whatever time we have left, before the consequences, made by the decisions of rich men, that we have never even met, start to bear down on all of us. Until next time, stay true to yourself, and may you find the strength to endure, whatever it is you may be going through. This is Valerie, signing off.